My student made a super creepy comment about my personal life that he shouldn't have known anything about, and my husband thinks I'm just being paranoid. I, 30F, am a high school English teacher and have been for a few years. In that time, as a woman, I've been used to teenage boys behaving awkwardly around me sometimes, and pheromones are part of the deal. There have been occasional comments, but generally in the vein of Miss, so-and-so has a crush on you, or Miss, would you be so-and-so's Valentine? It's all in good humor, in front of the whole class or a large group, and is well-meaning. My school throws a January ball for seniors, 16 to 18 years old, which is basically an opportunity to celebrate the start of another calendar year. As it's after hours, not every teacher has to attend, and this year I was asked to chaperone. There is no alcohol permitted, but obviously some of them sneak in stuff and so on. During this month's ball, 2 students were huddled at a table in the corner of the hall, not dancing, just keeping to themselves. I know them well as problematic students who have difficulties socially, but also perform pretty poorly academically, so they don't fit in with the popular crowd of the nerdy lot. We have some of these every year: poor hygiene, greasy hair, long fingernails, that sort of thing. Immediately I could tell they had been drinking, from the way they spoke and smelled, and asked them to hand over any alcohol they had. One of the boys, call him Stuart, started protesting. He said the following, and I'm 100% sure this is what he actually said. "Come on, miss. Don't pretend you won't open that bottle of Bailey's when you get home, feet up in your dressing gown, watching the new TV. Give us a break." Now, as soon as he said this, I felt my heart drop into my stomach and got cold all over. I had just bought a bottle of Bailey's Irish Cream for myself the weekend before the dance. I'm in the habit, on nights where I don't have much marking or planning and want to treat myself, of having a bath and watching a movie or series in my dressing gown. My husband bought a new television over Christmas. I asked him how he knew those things, and he feigned ignorance, basically saying it was a lucky guess. I was so shaken that I left them, and a while later they both left. But that night I could barely sleep, and my paranoia kept growing. I simply cannot believe that he could have guessed all 3 of those things. One maybe, but no way all 3. My husband is away for work currently. I phoned and told him about it, and he basically downplayed my concerns, saying I probably mentioned those things to my class at various points and this student has just remembered it. But I would never mention those things, I just wouldn't, and I'm sure I haven't. I've become more skittish at home when I hear noises. I only live in a small house, but when I arrive home from buying groceries I check every single room and cupboard before I lock the doors. I've also arranged to have the locks changed. When cars stop outside the house I turn all the lights off and peek at them through the blinds. I'm having trouble sleeping. In class, this student is quiet and the same as ever, not completing homework assignments, distracted in class. My husband is growing increasingly exasperated and worried more for my mental health and the possibility this student could somehow know details of my personal life. I mentioned it to my supervisor as well, and she also basically reasoned that I had either misheard what he said, it was a coincidence, or a combination of the 2. What's the play here? I'm seriously freaked out and don't know how to even begin putting this to rest. Update, in the same post, I wasn't expecting this post to receive so much attention. I'm really grateful to so many people who validated my concerns and helped me develop a plan of action. I got home a little while ago and am going out shortly with a friend to try rule out Bluetooth and Wi-Fi devices with my neighbors. After that, the 2 of us will try and conduct a deep search of the house for any concealed devices, using the lights out phone camera trick some people recommended and some other tips I found online. Just to clarify a couple of points that I've seen raised a few times. 1. Dressing gown is a really common term here in England for what Americans might call a robe. It's absolutely common parlance. Here most people I know would associate a robe with something a wizard might wear. 2. In terms of it being a lucky guess, if he had just said relax with a glass of wine I might have assumed so. But the dressing gown comment plus the Bailey's comment when I had just bought a bottle, and the explicit mention of a new television which I am 100% certain I did not misinterpret. These things make it so much harder to write off as a coincidence. 3. As far as social media goes, I have Instagram which is set to private under my maiden name and my profile picture is not of me. I am not in the habit of connecting with former students. I only have 3 who have all gone on to study English at university and have used me as references. I also have a Snapchat which I use only with my husband and very close friends. I have posted nothing about my new television, and I also don't think I've mentioned this to colleagues, let alone to students. Certainly I said nothing about the Baileys I just bought. Why would I? Second update, a few days later. I wasn't going to post an update here, but the number of worried people who have reached out to me made me reconsider. After a thorough search of my house I actually found 2 devices. They seem to be camera devices. I don't know if audio is included. One of them was in the smoke detector in my bedroom, while the other was concealed in the wall of my living room. Looking at an old picture of my bedroom, it looks like the smoke detector itself has changed very slightly. I think that the new one is a device in itself which the culprit somehow switched with the old one without us noticing. The matter has now been referred to the police. If it wasn't for so many of you taking me seriously and giving me practical advice, I wouldn't have had the courage to check, especially given my husband downplaying the concerns. He has been very apologetic and is coming back from his work trip early, but I've asked to spend some time apart and will be staying with my parents for a while. I'm glad I raised the issue with the head at my school and a couple of others, as there's a paper trail. Another suggestion from the thread. Needless to say, I'm completely shaken to my core and I have the most revolting feeling of my privacy being invaded. I have no idea how many people have been involved in this, but phones have been taken from students and we should have more answers soon. I won't be making any more posts or updates. Thank you again to everyone for affirming me and making me feel sane.